Another example as well of these academic standards being dropped so you can get more people into the workforce is over at the police. The Victorian Police did it a few months ago. They changed the rules. Previously, you had to do a test in order to become a copper. Now they've said that if you've got an ATAR of 65 or above, or you score at least 25 in English, then you can get into the cops without taking a test. Now, we should note that 65 ATAR is 4 points below the average in Victoria. So
but hey, it's more than a teacher in Tasmania.
It's more than a teacher.
Hey.
But they're letting people in below the average. And
you're going to give them a gun. You probably want to.
That being a copper is a pretty brain-intensive job, right? I mean, you know, sure, if you're just going around and giving people fines, maybe not so. But if you've got any ambition to rise anywhere in the police force, you've got to be solving crimes. This takes lateral thinking. You seriously have to use your brain in order to get some of this stuff done. So you can understand why they'd want to put them through a test, but they said, no, we don't have enough coppers, so we'll scrap the test if you have a below-average ATAR. And sure enough, they have had a little bit of an uptick. 160 applicants have managed to skip the queue now that they've got rid of these rules. One of the most concerning things, though, I think, is that they've taken away the requirement for most people to have an appointment with a psychologist, Liz, before they become a police officer now.
Probably the best.
Well, being a police officer is a job where you will potentially have to see and deal with some horrible things.
Yeah.
And they're saying you don't even have to go and see a psych to make sure that you're okay in the head before you go into this job. I reckon that's opening themselves up to real danger and all sorts of cases and whatever in future, saying, well, you didn't have any duty of care making sure that I was right for this job before you put me in front of dead bodies and squished people in cars.
Exactly. And of course, nobody can anticipate what you're going to come up against while you're out on the beat on any given day. So I would have thought that that would definitely be something you simply don't drop, because it's your job as an employer to be aware of someone's capacity when it's this kind of front-line job. But hey, Victoria has seen recruitment surge by 50% by just dropping the standards. The spiral is everywhere. Keep noticing. Over in South Australia, they've adopted a different method of getting their recruits in. Here's the police recruitment video. Grant Stevens saying, hey, come one, come all, we'll pay for your visas. All you cops from overseas, come to South Australia. We'll give you a job.
Hi, I'm Grant Stevens, Commissioner for South Australia Police. We're recruiting internationally and I'm inviting you to apply. We've got a lot of competitive advantages, including a great salary, and we'll pay for the cost of permanent visas for you and your family. Not to mention, we've got this.
It's a humorous ad and not a bad ploy, but how do we feel as Aussies seeing our state cops literally appeal to all and sundry overseas saying, hey, we're so desperate for recruits, we'll pay for visas for you and your family. Come to this beautiful island nation. Makes it sound like an absolute...
Well, look, Grant Stevens.
You should sign up.
I could go back to South Australia and sign up. I mean, Grant Stevens and I have had our differences in the past, but I think he's actually a pretty good police commissioner in South Australia. I'm just not sure that him getting his hairy pins out and wearing shorts in the ocean is actually going to encourage anyone to come across the shores.
That's right. I was with him right up to the point where he dropped his trousers.
I know. We didn't need that.
No, I think it's good. I think it's funny. I think we also pride ourselves on being a nation of larrikins in Australia, and every single time anyone does something slightly offbeat, slightly kind of funny, we all go, oh my God, how could he do that? And they get all outraged. Oh, why aren't you getting local people? I'll tell you why, because they're not applying. Because you, if you're outraged and you're not a cop, because you have not applied to join the police force. That is the problem. That is why they're getting people from overseas. If you're a cop who's saying, why aren't we getting more local people? I did my bit. You are totally excused. Anyone else, you've got no excuse to say it because you should be signing up.
But
in New South Wales, in New South Wales, there is a shortfall of 3,000 police officers. And New South Wales is actually one of the biggest police forces in the world. There's a shortage of 3,000. So 3,000 less than they need for the actual requirements, which is causing burnout for the people who are already there because they're having to do extra work, right? And not only that, but they are not even recruiting enough that they need to fill the existing scope. So they're not actually, so not only are they, so they're on this big recruitment drive to fill this 3,000 and they are below target for the drive to fill it. So again, if you are not applying for the police force, you have no right to criticise whatever it is these governments are doing to try to get people into police force, because like teachers, there's a massive shortage.